The workflow system is a way for you to automate business processes. You can take actions that you can perform in Alga and you can make them happen automatically in response to things that happen inside or outside of Alga. So let me first show you around, and then I'll show you that editor that I was just teasing you with. So the first thing that you can see is we have this view of the workflow runs. It's a history of all the executions we've done. It gives you everything that you need to see kind of operationally that your workflows are running at a glance here. We also have a catalog of events. So you can come here and you can see all of the different events in the application that you could create a workflow in response to. So it's rather comprehensive. You could run invoice finalized workflows. Maybe there's an approval process that you want to hook up to invoice finalization. Um, Workflows when invoices are created. There's the obvious ones. You can run workflows when tickets are created or when comments are added to tickets. But really, your imagination is the only limit. And if you have created a workflow that keeps failing rather than running forever and just failing forever, you can configure it so that after a certain number of retries, it gives up and it comes here and you get a chance to fix it. Then we have this running timeline of events that happen in the system and the corresponding workflows that were run in response to those. And then we have scheduled reports. So I mentioned that you can run workflows in response to some event that happens in Alga. You can also run workflows on a scheduled basis or on a recurring basis. So or at some point in the future. So say 5 hours from when the workflow is created, or every Monday at 5 p.m. or however you want to schedule them. And then to create the workflow, you come into here, the workflow editor, get a list of your workflows. They're all versioned. And only when you have tested them and they work the way that you expect, then you can publish them. And those become what's run in response to the events. We've got a graphical designer where you can drag and drop to build the workflow. So I think we can start by showing an example. So let's see. Yeah, this is the one we just created. The purpose of this workflow is when a ticket arrives, we want to show all of the admin users in the system a notification, real-time notification to let them know that a ticket arrived. It's a really simple workflow. It's something that and we're just showing for example purposes, but you could imagine that maybe whenever a particular client sends in a ticket, or if the ticket contains certain keywords, or if it's flagged as important in some way, then including with AI, which I'll talk about in a second, but if it's flagged as important in some way, then you could receive a notification. That notification also comes to your phone if you have the mobile app installed. So you can see how this could be pretty handy. So let's just go over this from the top. So create a new workflow. The trigger type here is event. Like I mentioned before, you can create workflows that are triggered by a particular event, or they can be triggered based on a schedule. So that's the no trigger based on a schedule. And then there's the event category and the event itself. Choosing the event here is important because then the things that are special about that event are available in the workflow. So for example, in a ticket created event, in the workflow, you have access to the ticket ID so you can look it up, and you don't have to, those are things that are relevant to that workflow. So because the ticket is created, the first thing that we did on this workflow is we find the ticket. So we receive the ID. We want to look up the tickets to get all the ticket details. So when I select that, you have this properties panel on the right-hand side. It's very similar to those systems that you may have worked on in the past. But so the first thing that we did is we dragged onto here a ticket action. Here's the panel of all the different action types that we have. So drag on a ticket action, then you choose the action you want to take in response. And in this case, we chose find a ticket. Now, so create tickets, close tickets, assign tickets, add comments. So the ticket find action requires a ticket ID. And what we did is we select a reference. It's a reference to the payload, which is the event. When the event arrived, this is what we received with the event, and then the field on that event. So ticket ID is something that you get when a ticket is created. So therefore, you can just refer to it. So that finds the ticket. Now, once you found a ticket, the ticket details become part of the workflow. And so what do we want to do? We want to send a notification to all of the admin users to let them know that a ticket has arrived. So in this case, we have a communication action. And under communication, I'm going back to the top. Under communication, we chose send in-app notification. You can do that. You can send an email from here. And so for send app notification, the requirements are the recipients. So a recipient can be either a list of users or it can be a role. So I mentioned that we wanted to send directly to roles. So that's not in reference to anything, it's fixed. So we put a fixed value in and we just typed in admin. So kind of going over this from the top, tickets created. Once we find the ticket, we have the ticket details, and then we send an in-app notification to all of the admins in the system. So demo time. Here, let me switch back so that's more it's more drama. All right. So please create the ticket.
It's there.
All right. That wasn't a whole lot of drama, but we'll go back here. So I think in this one yes. Okay. So we received a ticket, printer not working. So
Of course, it's always printer.
that's 95% of the time that's what. In fact, we could probably just hard code that, and it would mostly be right. But anyway, that's the ticket arrival. You can go much further than this. So you can well, I mean, rather than saying that, I'll just show you. So one of the really interesting things that really excites me about this is you can kind of put a brain in the middle of the workflow. And if you click on it, then you can specify prompts. So you could say, right, so we found a ticket, and when we found a ticket, we sent an in-app notification. Imagine here for the AI, you could have it read the contents of the description of the ticket. And the prompt would be, is this urgent? Yes or no. The response would be urgent, true or false. And then you can imagine you might take two different paths for urgent versus non-urgent tickets that arrived. If they're not urgent, maybe you have them follow the existing path. If they are urgent, you have a lot of options. You could create notifications, you could send emails, you could do SLA, you take actions via the SLA.
You can assign them to different agents.
Or another example is, a lot of MSPs have their kind of, their network guy, the guy who handles the firewalls and the complex network tasks. You could imagine that if a ticket comes in and, you could do a couple ways. You could just, search for network as a string, but that's going to have a lot of false positives. Or you can have an AI that says, is this a ticket that's specifically related to network security or network topology or network design? And if so, assigned to this particular user or this particular team. Kind of the sky's the limit. But so that's the workflow system. Really powerful. We're really proud of it.